Let me see if this is working. Does it sound working? Testing. Okay, yeah, it's working. So, hello guys, welcome, and yeah. So, in this video, we're going to be basically looking at transforms and defining transform before we get end graphics 2D. So, we're not gonna do any serious coding. We're just going to be looking at stuff, and yes. Because how we're moving with our progress, we're not going to be using the regular graphics class. Reason being is that it's not advanced enough. So yeah. By the way, guys, don't forget to smash the subscribe button because you'll be updated whenever I create a new upload, and I try my best to upload daily. So yeah, so you might miss out on a daily basis. Who knows? So guys, and yeah, let's get into it. So what is a transform? Now a transform is basically a transform it is what it is. It's a transformer toy. You just go to the toy store and then you purchase a small little toy car that can turn into a robot person. That's what a transform is. Nah, I'm just kidding. A transform is basically it's a data structure that stores, it's not a data structure per se, but it's a class that stores information about an object's position, like its position, its rotation, its scale, and its other stuff. So basically, yes. So transform stores an object's position, its orientation, its rotation, and all that stuff. Now, we can actually go and hard code all of that if you wanted to, but I don't want to. I'm a lazy person. So we can go ahead and import java.art to something, the geometry or something like that. And yeah, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just have NetBeans do it for me. So inside in fact, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to create something's going to be called a affine transform. It's a class, affine transform, and import that from geometry. And yes, so I'm just going to simply name it as transform. Now, when we create a transform, we don't create it as a normal object. So instead of our initialize method, I would simply say transform equals to affine. If I do recall this correctly, I don't remember. It's been a long time since I did programming, but I think you can initialize it as you would normally would. Affine transform. Damn it! Is there capital F? No, there isn't. Transform dot. Yes, so basically, yes, you do not initialize it as you normally would a normal class. You have to use this stuff. So you can get translate instance, get rotation instance, get this quadrant rotate instance. I have no idea what that is. And yeah, so you can get scale, a shear, a translate instance, and yeah. So we're gonna go with a translate instance, and it's gonna give us FPS and FPS. So I'm just gonna simply say, what is it again? I really forgot this. It's been a long time since I actually did any game programming in Java. So, but I still remember some of the stuff. Anyways, so I'm gonna go with this x pos y pos, if I stand correct. X pos my position, and yeah, and what we can do. And yeah, so let me introduce. So I introduced you guys to transforms. Basically, it's a single class that stores information about an object's rotation, its position, and its everything else. So what do we do now? How do we use it? Now, to use a transform, we first cannot use a transform with a regular graphics object. We cannot do that because graphics objects it only supports simple drawing, like simple stuff. So yeah, so we're just gonna use a graphics 2D. So to do that, we're simply gonna type in graphics 2D and import it from java.art.graphics2d, And there we go. We have that bad boy inside the scene. So I'm just gonna name it G2D because I'm a lazy burger. I'm a lazy person. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be typecasting. We're going to class casting, not typecasting. Sorry, class casting. We're just going to be casting this graphics object into a graphics 2D object. So to do that, we simply just type the name of the class that we want to cast into. But this guys will not work for every single class because it has to be compatible. Graphics 2D and graphics is kind of compatible. I mean, you can see it in the name, graphics and graphics 2D. I think I should stop talking now. And there we go. So there we go. Now we have our G2D object, and then we can start using the G2D object. So we can simply say g2d.setTransform. Okay, why is it not coming up? I want to make sure that I'm correct. It's .set transform. There we go. Set affine transform to transform. And after that, what we simply do is we just draw. And I'm just going to simply say g2d dot draw image, draw whatever I want. I can draw a shape with graphics 2D. As you can see, it's much more advanced. I can draw any shape I want. I cannot do that with graphics. I can draw characters. I can draw bytes. Why would I draw bytes? I like to eat my bytes. I can draw polygons. I can draw renderable images, whatever those are. And yes, but you can do more stuff. You can rotate and you can clip. You can do all this other sorts of fancy stuff. You can create. You can fill over. You can get background. You can get composite. Get device configuration, whatever that is. Get rendering hints and get transform, get stroke, and all of that stuff. You can only do that with graphics 2D and not graphics and not the graphics class. So now what we want to do is to draw this image, the player image. So first of all, I'm just gonna simply do this, and I'll say g2d.draw image. Okay, like my code coming, draw image. So this image, affine transform, and image observer. So actually, what we would usually do is do this. Instead of setting the transform to the G2D object, we simply just do this. Yeah, this is much more better, and we just do this, and we don't need to do this. So for the image observer, I'm just simply going to say null, and there we go. But wait, hold up. No, something ain't right. Because we need to actually do the scaling and all the stuff. So I still need to change this. G2D or draw image. Oh, yeah, so I remember that's why. Okay, let's just do this right now. It's been a long time. Maybe there might be a way. And let's run it. And okay, I don't want to play sound. So anyway, so let's us run it. Oh, we're not drawing the map. We're drawing the player. And let's run it. And we can't move. The reason being is we need to change the value of the X and Y position. We're not updating it. We just simply set it statically inside init, and we also need to update it. So inside here, I'll just simply say transform dot the set transform. Nope. Set quadrant rotation. No. Okay. I think I might be glitching or something. Dot set transform shear scale rotation. No. I just have to say this again. Oh yeah, I remember. You just copy this backward smooth and copy that and paste it there, and then you basically have to reinitialize this again. So you don't need to do this. No, actually, you kind of do. You get an out point exception over here. And yeah, so you do this again over here. Now, if we run it, as you can see, now we're moving fresh and everything is happening very well. Now, the other problem is, as you can see, the scale of the image went up again. So we can actually do that by setting the scale or something. Transform dot set scale or something. I don't know. I don't recall this properly. Set scale to, and we can simply say I want this to be half as big, so I'm going to put it to 0. I'm going to put it to 0.5 and 0.5. And if I run it, it is going to give me something that is half as big. Okay, that doesn't look half as big. Where is it? I don't know. Maybe my eyesight's messed up. Let me put it to maybe that size. Maybe I might notice a difference. Does this look smaller to you? It doesn't look smaller to me. Let me just try it with a bunch of zeros. Okay, this doesn't work. So anyways, now I remember why I did it the other way. So if that's gonna give you trouble, what I usually did for my games, for what I used to do is simply say G2D, that's set image, no, that's set transform, no caps, Joseph, and there we go, transform to transform, and then after all this, we're just simply gonna say G2D.draw image 0, 0, and then whatever 150 and 150, and now when we run it, yes, everything is working fine and perfectly like a charm. And you're probably wondering, why am I drawing at position 0 and 0? The reason I'm specifying position, the coordinates is 0 and 0, but it's still working. It's because when we set the transform, the graphics 2D already has a pre-configured like rotation matrix and all those other fancy mathematical stuff. So yeah, so it's already going to have a position. It's already going to have a X and Y position set behind the screen, so we just don't know. And after that, we just simply need to say g2d.set transform. We need to reset this. We're just going to simply say new affine transform. And yep, that's about it. So we set a transform for whatever we want to draw, and then after that we're just gonna remove the transform object. So when we run it, and everything is still fine, and there we go. So same thing as we did earlier on. Now we might also be wondering, what about this guy? What about centering? Can't we just put this minus 75 here? And the answer is no. The reason it's no is because when we start rotating the player or rotating the stuff, this minus 75 is just gonna give you some wonky looking, I don't know, wonky looking responses, and it's gonna look weird, and yeah, your game's just gonna look weird. So if you ever wanted to do any centering or anything, any sort of that calculation and all that stuff, you do it as you set it here. So I'm just gonna simply say minus 75 and minus 75. So if I run it, there we go, we have it centered already. We don't put it there. Now we're already done with translating or moving stuff. Now what if I wanted to rotate this? Now it's simple. I can simply go here and say transform dot rotate dot rotate, I think, dot rotate, and then theta. What is theta? Theta is basically the angle we want to rotate around the x-axis. No, the z-axis. Yeah, this is a 2D game. So yeah, around the z-axis, and I'm not gonna explain why it's z and not x. Yeah, yeah. So basically, and if you put it to 0, nothing's gonna happen. I can put it to, I don't know, 45, and it should be tilted at 45 degrees. As you can see, yes, it's tilted at 45 degrees, and we can tilt it at 90 degrees, and yes, so this is basically how you rotate stuff. Something here, right? I think it's math.2 radians or something. Math.2 radians. I don't remember the stuff probably. 90, and let's run that. Yes, so you use 2 radians and not degrees. So what happens is when it uses this, when the transform does its mathematics for rotating stuff, for some reason it doesn't work with degrees, it works with radians. So you have to convert your degrees to radians for it to work. So there we go. We have 90 degrees and it's perfectly at 90 degrees. And if we ever wanted it to be at, I don't know, 180 degrees, we just input 180 and voila, it's rotated. Now, as you can see, the more we rotate this, it gets much more rotated and weird stuff happens. Now, oh yeah, I think I made a mistake. So, what we want to do is simply, instead of saying get translate instance, we want to say we rotate instance. So transform equals to find transform dot get rotate instance, because we're going to be calling the rotate function. Rotate instance, and then we're just going to put in the angle that we be using. So it's going to be math.2 radians, math.2 radians, 2 radians, 180, and if we do this, it's going to work like a charm. And to now that we need to change its position and location, so I'm just simply going to say transform dot. Shouldn't there be like a translate function or something? I don't know. It's been a long time since I did this. Set translation. Oh, I don't think you can do that there. It's sorry, I'm making lots of mistakes. I shouldn't be making mistakes. Anyway, so it's something around here. So when you say dot get rotate instance, you get other variables, get other stuff, dot, and you have this theta, anchor x, and anchor y. So anchor x and anchor y is basically the position where you want to rotate this around, and theta is basically the angle. So when we do this, we can simply say, so math.2 radians, math.2 radians, math.2 radians, dot 2 radians, dot 2 radians, and then 180 degrees, and x pose, and then y pose. We're trying to add. So since we're trying to center it, we're just going to add plus 75 and plus 75. Yes, okay, so I made a stupid mistake. Sorry, this was originally correct. It's the get translate, it was originally correct. It's just that I made some other mistake. And yes, so math instead of yeah, I made a terrible mistake. So I'm just simply going to say dot rotate. I want to go with this one. That's the one we need to go with. Math dot 2 radians, 180 for the x position. No, we're not gonna put x position. We're just gonna put the half of the width of whatever you're trying to rotate, which is 75, and the half of the height, which is also 75, and voila, it should work like a charm now. And yes, there we go. So yes, so we got the rotation function working properly, and yeah guys, so that's about it. So thanks for watching guys. If you liked, subscribe, and yeah, so subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. As always, the sources will always be down in the description, linked down in the description. And yes guys, so peace guys. And in the next video we're going to be actually should I actually do this? Yeah, we're going to be rotating the player using mouse input, and that's going to be a very complicated task. It's going to be, we're going to use lots of mathematics. Yeah, not a lot of mathematics, but yes, A level of mathematics. So yeah, so guys, that's about it. So guys, and peace. Have a nice day, and yes.